In this week's military headlines, major defense conferences are often the site of breaking news, and last week it was the Air Force's turn, with the start of the Royal International Air Tattoo in the United Kingdom. Defense News air warfare reporter Stephen Losey was on site at the event and sends in this report about the Air Force's bid to build a new battle management aircraft.
The Air Force has reached an agreement with Boeing to build the first rapid prototype E-7 battle management aircraft, Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall told reporters in England over the weekend. The terms of the contract are not yet settled, but should be wrapped up next month, Kendall said at the Royal International Air Tattoo Air Show. The completion of this deal would resolve months of complicated negotiations between the Air Force and Boeing, stemming from the service's special requirements for its version of the E-7. The Air Force in 2022 chose the E-7 to replace its aging E-3 Sentry Airborne Warning and Control System, or AWACS, fleet. The service plans to buy 26 E-7s from Boeing by 2032 and awarded Boeing a $1.2 billion contract in February 2023 to start working on them. Ultimately, Kendall said, the Air Force wants to have a combination of E-7s and space-based satellites, monitoring battlefields in the airspace above, providing command and control, and targeting enemy forces. Until the E-7 fleet is ready, he said, the service plans to hold on to some AWACS to bridge the gap. Australia already flies the E-7, which it calls the Wedgetail, and Boeing has deals in the works with the UK and other nations. But the Air Force said it needs a modified design for the E-7 to meet US satellite communication, military GPS, and cybersecurity, as well as program protection requirements.
And in more news from the International Air Show, officials announced an update on deliveries of the Joint Strike Fighters from Lockheed Martin after a long delay. Here's Stephen Losey with more.
The U.S. military is once again accepting deliveries of the newest F-35 Joint Strike Fighters from Lockheed Martin after a year-long halt caused by problems with the fighters' upgrades. The first two F-35As, loaded with a truncated or partial version of the Technology Refresh 3 upgrade software, were delivered to the U.S. Air Force on Friday, the F-35 Joint Program Office said. But the lengthy delay in delivering F-35s loaded with TR-3, the fact that they won't be able to fly combat missions until 2025, has had ripple effects on the U.S. Air Force's basing of the jets in Europe, a top general said at the Royal International Air Tattoo Air Show at RAF Fairford in England. The TR-3 upgrades to the F-35 include better displays, computer memory, and processing power. They are necessary to lay the groundwork for a broader F-35 modernization known as Block 4, which will include the ability to carry more weapons, better identify targets, and improve its electronic warfare capabilities. The TR-3 effort has been hampered by software problems, as well as some delays in hardware production. Lockheed Martin was originally supposed to have TR-3 ready around April 2023, but by last July, when the first jets earmarked for TR-3 began rolling off the line in Fort Worth, Texas, the upgrades were still incomplete. The government refused to accept deliveries of these jets, and the backlog of undelivered jets began to grow at Fort Worth. The TR-3 delays were also a factor in the Air Force's decision to dial back its purchase plan for F-35As in the proposed 2025 budget. And TR-3's delay has led to a slowdown in the number of F-35s arriving at RAF Lake and Heath, where the Air Force's two European-based F-35 squadrons are located. Reporting from RAF Fairford in England, I'm Stephen Losey.
In more news from around the military, a number of military families stationed overseas are scrambling to make new arrangements to ship their dogs back to the United States following new regulations from the CDC. The new rules are aimed at preventing the spread of rabies among dogs, but the updated guidance triggered 8 airlines to halt allowing dogs to travel back to these states with their families from international destinations. Airlines like Lufthansa, based in Germany, said they would no longer be able to fly dogs to the US until further notice. August is the height of PCS season, and families have been struggling to make new arrangements. And instead of maximum effort, troops in some locations will need very little effort to get a look at the new Deadpool and Wolverine movie this week. The Army and Air Force Exchange Service announced that, in a partnership with Disney, it will bring free screenings of the R-rated Marvel movie to troops in Romania and Lithuania. AFI said about 3,000 service members will get to attend the screenings. Deadpool and Wolverine is the latest in the popular MCU series and stars Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. The movie will also play at select AFI's exchange theaters around the world starting July 26th.